Yura, and welcome to Term 3, Week 7 of our RE Prosper pilgrimage on our spiritual and faith journey. This idea of a pilgrimage is meant to remind us of the journey of our lives, where we're asked to believe that who we are is God's gift to us, and who we become is our gift to God. Our life, our existence, our creation come from God, and we're blessed with that life. What we do with those gifts is what we eventually give back to God at the end of our earthly life, upon entry into eternal life, where God says thank you. The development of these character strengths of yours is meant to support you on your journey, and this week is one that seemingly is a struggle for many people within the Iona community. The character strength is prudence, which for students is ranked at number 22 of 24. And before I get too ahead of myself in judgment, I see that it's number 20 for me. Prudence is about our ability to make right and wise decisions that bring us and others life. It can bring about an understanding that our actions have impacts and consequences. My office is in the Prosper Centre, and I regularly see students there who have arrived because of a decision that was unwise or unhelpful. Often they say, if only I didn't say that. If only I didn't do that. I wish I could just reverse time a bit. I'm so sorry. Some of them reflect and wonder why temptation felt a lot better before the event than after it. Have a think about the unwise decisions or temptations that you've faced. They might clam up though, and they might deny at all costs and hope that the storm will pass, and I try and remind them that the best time to make a wise decision is including now, being honest. And then I try to support them in coming to that honest declaration. I wanted to share with you an insight from our Oblate retreat a few weeks back, when Father Ron Rollheiser, an Oblate from North America, asked us to reflect on the belief that there is nothing that we can do to make God love us more, but there is nothing we can do to make God love us less. So why do we bother in making an effort to do the right thing? I believe it's because we have an inbuilt nature within us that's good and that shines, and that when we are asked to act in the right time, right place, right attitude, we become closer to our truest selves. Our role as a school is to work with your parents to help you make a life and not just a living. And prudence helps us make the best possible decisions with the best possible outcome. There's often a great misunderstanding about the real nature of prudence, so we might begin by saying what it's not. Prudence is not timidity, an avoidance of all danger, cowardice, lack of initiative, self-preservation, never spending money, or an excessive focus on manners. On the contrary, or opposite, sometimes true prudence could lead you to pick up a piece of someone else's rubbish, step away from a conflict in a class or a sports field, confront someone making cruel statements about another, standing alongside someone who's lonely. Prudence is the art of taking moral principles and applying them to concrete situations. So we'll take an example. We all know the golden rule, love your neighbour as yourself. This is a general moral principle. But even after we learn this principle, the question still remains, how do I love this neighbour here and now? We still have to take the general moral principle and make it concrete in particular situations. Prudence is a lot like going on a holiday. The first thing you have to do before going on a holiday is figuring out a destination. Where do you want to go? And then you have to figure out the best way to reach that destination. After all that, you have to pack and prepare for the trip, and it depends on where you're going. As we make our own individual decisions, we need to keep in mind our ultimate goal. That's prudence, selecting the right means, bringing us towards happiness, which is our ultimate destination. Related to prudence is the notion of conscience. And conscience is a brutally misunderstood term in most circles. People often use the phrase, follow your conscience, without any clear idea of what it really means. Usually they think conscience is some vague feeling or a quiet inner voice, or perhaps a small voice telling you what to do. Actually, the meaning of follow your conscience is much more precise than that. It means making an informed decision to do what you think is right. And that's it. Maybe that sounds so obvious that we don't need to say it, but the fact is that many people have never thought about what is right. They just do what feels right. Conscience isn't about a feeling, it's about a thinking that something is right. Another translation of follow your conscience is follow what prudence tells you and apply those moral principles to concrete situations and act accordingly. So what might inform our conscience? Catholic Christians are of the belief that Jesus, the Bible, the Catholic Church teachings are meant to guide our decision making. And here at Iona, we're also asked to apply the Oblate and St. Eugene de Mazenod lens to the way we look at the world. Through the eyes of Christ, we see the world was the challenge set by St. Eugene that asks us to see who's been left out, find ways of connecting and having them feel a real sense of value and belonging. The three words of see, judge and act are the ways in which we're asked to slow things down in order to make the best and most prudent decision possible. Slowing things down is exactly why we have the chill out room. Slowing things down helps us to put pieces together, and if we take a look back at the mistakes we've made, often slowing things down helps immeasurably. The actual counting to 10 is a very simple way of slowing things down. We'll just practice that now. Because we try and use all of the benefits of our experiences to help us think and to make the right decision at the right time. We are all better than our worst mistakes, and slowing down helps us to think through some of the consequences before we act. And by act, it might mean avoiding harsh words that cannot be taken back, avoiding sending that email, text message or social media post in anger, avoiding saying yes to an unwise choice at a gathering. And lastly, there are certain times when it's prudent to avoid decision making. We have to be very careful that our judgment and actions are the result of an honest examination of where we're at in certain situations, and it's very difficult for us to keep a proper perspective. It's important that our judgments and actions are not reactions to strong emotions like anger. A prudent person, whenever possible, will avoid making a decision when they're angry. They'll try and sleep on it, postpone it, or put it aside until they can weigh things calmly and coolly. With discouragement, when we're close to despair, our view on reality can be distorted. We will be sometimes overly pessimistic, and so the decisions we make will be based on error. If you've suffered a failure or fallen over or having made a stupid move, all these things discourage us, and so we should avoid decisions at these times. The book of Proverbs from the Bible shared its wisdom. It said, "The person who guards his mouth and his tongue guards his soul from troubles." Who you are is God's gift to you, and who you become is your gift to God. During the time that I was away from the college on the retreat, I made a decision upon the general advice from the government to have a COVID-19 test because it was considered the right thing to do. I had to stay in isolation from everyone while awaiting the results, and even though it frustrated me no end, I knew that I had extra responsibilities to you all and that I needed to exercise my number 20 character strength and prudence. I still managed 27,000 steps in my room, and apart from some worn carpet, all turned out well, and thankfully I don't have that virus. Prudence is a necessary strength for us all to develop. Kia kaha, stay strong, see, judge and act as prudently as you possibly can. Thank you.